Siyabonga. We are grateful. You're writing down here. It reminds me of my mother's. Siyabonga Siswami. Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us in your home to tell us your remarkable story. So this is just going to be a conversation. It's nothing too serious. Saqala nje, please introduce yourself. Tell us your name and where uzalelwe kuphi, wakhula kuphi, yini ekuletha la eGoli.
Okay, igama lami Sindiswa Mabindisa. I was born in Johannesburg, but I grew up in between Johannesburg and Eastern Cape.
So growing up, impilo ibinjani? Ukhule nobani? Ukhule nabazali bakho, your siblings? How was life growing up nje?
I grew up, I had a very beautiful upbringing when I was growing, while my parents were still together. And then I think in 1998 or between 1998 and 2000, then they divorced. Then Mama divorced, we were taken to Eastern Cape. Sakhulele Eastern Cape, and then we left here, very nice.
Ubani obese Eastern Cape?
It was my parents' parents, my grandparents. We were taken to my dad's home. Then Sakhulela Kona. Of course, life was not nice there because our parents were not there. And then also we're still young, too very young, because my older sister was parentified at that time. She had to look after us because she was a bit older, even though she was a year older than me.
Nibangaki benikhula ama siblings akho, wena nosisi wakho, who else?
It's my older sister Akona, then it's me, then it's the last born Thokozani.
So 2 girls, one boy.
Yes.
Nikhula nogogo.
Sikhula nogogo, the aunties and abobaba omncane. Yes, my grandfather bekahlala la eGoli because bekasebenza.
Menikhula nogogo nomkhulu, impilo ibinjani nje? Niyafunda nangugogo nangumkhulu in the home? How was life?
Besifunda, yes, sifunda, but there was always that void eka mama no baba because we are a lot of siblings. And then lababanye, of course, their mothers are there. And then bano mama, magu December or mama wabia figure, they have clothes during the year, they have winter clothes, they have everything covered. But for Tina, it was just sad because Tina, we had no one, and we had our younger brother who was very young. I remember Thokozani bekasagoka inapkin, and by then we learned to kumgezisa, change how ukwenza iwashing amanapkin. My sister was the one who did a lot of work because then we begasgezisa. Make sure we eat, make sure we go to school, we have our uniform clean, yes.
And then uma nobaba bebefika bezovakasha besebenza phi, ngiyazi benihlala nogogo nomkhulu. So did your parents come and visit you guys?
Not really. I think my mom visited, I think twice throughout Lesikhathi sise Eastern Cape. And then my daddy uye begaza, I don't remember how many times uye begaza, even though sometimes he would come figure on a Christmas day. But he would come, sometimes he would come as a stingeli impahla, would be so excited to go to see impahla. But we were just neglected, we were just abandoned because no one was calling, was checking on us, how wenzakalani, do we have, are we sick, umthokozani ukhula kanjani. It was just so very bad.
Uma ubesebenza eGoli o ubekuphi ngaleso sikhathi?
The last time I remember my mom bekasebenza a central building. I don't know the time was she still working or bekahleli nje kuphela la eGoli. I don't know if bekasebenza or bekangasebenza, I don't know, because even visiting my mom was scarce. The times that I remember she came twice uzosibona. And nakhona besesikhulile that time besikaza ezosibona. That was before we came back to Johannesburg.
Do you know if she had another family at Johannesburg after you were then transported to Eastern Cape in Hlalakon?
I don't think so. From my understanding, I feel like he got disconnected from us. I don't know if maybe it could be reasons of the divorce, but he got disconnected because my mom was not checking on us. I don't remember even a time where one of my family members figure Eastern Cape maybe with a letter, or maybe okay, maybe she was asking about it because she knew family to all over even she knew my grandfather at least how are my kids, or rather maybe I tell you Eastern Cape with me I used to if I just feel like in Jibega that woman abandoned us. I don't know what was my reasons why, but she was just not the mother that she was before.
So as in Ukula no gogo nomkhulu, ugogo yasebenza umkhulu, how were they making a living khona lapha ekhaya ugogo nomkhulu to take care of you and the aunties and the uncles and everyone?
My grandfather has always been like Joburg bekasebenza. Ekhaya it was ugogo, our uncles, our aunties and us, but basheshe bona baya high school, my aunties. And then my grandmother was not working. My grandfather is bekasebenza kahle. So we had everything in Lina. We had enough food, we had everything. We were just not taken care ngendlela right of us being allowed to be kids. I remember because even we were not allowed to go to because we had to do our house chores assembling, and that time we were young. So I used to sneak out and then I would come back. I know what is a shower for yes, but I did that. Yes.
So nakula nafunda high school, primary, high school, naphumelela lapho in terms of education.
Yes, it's a funda, but it was not nice. It was not home. It was not the home that you were looking forward to. I'm going home. There was a lot going on lapayana. The resentment besifila lapayana. The sad words is bezikhulunywa githi while we listening the things bebazisho about our parents. It was just not nice. The things we expected to do abantwana, they were not nice. And also we also had experience in molestation while we were there ekhaya. And also staying in the Eastern Cape in the 90s, 2000, it was not a thing which you can always share to someone and say, because I remember my first experience here in molestation, it was a woman, a lady who I related na sekaya. I've always knew what she was doing to me, it was not okay. But staying in a home where we were not given that opportunity as a child to express how you feel, to talk about such things, we were not allowed to talk about such. So it was for me, in as much as we had food, my grandfather it was very rich. They had everything, but I felt like that was just not enough for Tina as Avantona to talk about things that we were really going through. Yes.
So emotionally, you speak about you weren't taken care of. Do you feel like you were emotionally or physically abused in that home growing up?
We were both. Emotionally, we were so abused. Physically, we were abused. To also have the molestation, we experienced a lot of that. Emotionally, it was worse. It was worse emotionally because, even now, up to now, whenever I think of the things they said in Abazalbet, I mean, we never chose that. We were also wondering what we were there, and then them choosing what bus because they never as Eastern Cape Street. My mom packed our things like a village then my mom packed our things was fage basini. I think she paid wakhuluma no driver. Then we were taken to Eastern Cape and then kwaba ugcina kwethu naye lapho, her and my dad. Then kwaba ugcina kwethu lapho. So the things that happened in Eastern Cape, it was as if we asked for those things. It was just not nice.
So in terms of inside lomndeni kama wakho, were they there? Have you ever met them? Did you spend time with them? I know that you grew up in the Eastern Cape, beside Laba.
Yes. You
were taken there. So inside Lamam, were they there after the divorce or before the divorce?
They've always been there. Kabo Mama, it's 3 houses away from Kulo Baba. Oh. They've always been there, yes. It was very close. But Ekaya, they were not really much comfortable in us going Kulo Mama. I don't know for what reasons. We've always been Ekaya because Ekaya Musumuzo Mkulu Mosuguna Yonki. And then Kabo Mama, it was just a small house with the Abu Auntie Nabo, they actually married Bashala Emizinabo Bashala Kon. But I remember one time where they were involved when my father wanted to come as a charter. I don't know what was the conversation, but in that moment we were taken away so that my dad Magafiga Angas told. I remember one of my uncles, Mamkul Tabile, I was taken work. I don't remember what Akona not was when where did they go, but we taken there. We best had it with my dad Angas told. I don't know what was the reason for Gutiba Bangavumo Guti as started to like going. Because but they've always been there. Whenever mama would always go during the day, and later on we know it is really kaya.
So you couldn't live
stay full time
no and seek like usizo.
No, we couldn't. And azange sicabanga nathi ukuthi sicele siyohlala khona full time.
Naningane.
Yes.
Nanisebancane.
So we just learned to live, to understand ukuthi this is us. We just don't have anyone except us. And then sagcina normalize and kwagcina right. I think also maybe ngendlela bebasitreata ngayo bona, it was because maybe now they were angry at my dad, maybe at my mom and my dad for whatever reasons, I don't know. Otherwise my grandmother loved us. They loved us ekhaya. It's just that I don't know what is it. Somehow was treated in ways that they were not right.
So Uma no Baba never really sat down with you, with all of you, and say and explain what was going on. No, there wasn't. I think also it's because of his age, because that time in 1998 I was 6 years, my sister was 7 years. So maybe we I need to understand when there was this thing is not working, in as much as because my dad was physically abusive towards my mom. Life was not okay, but they were the best parents. We had a beautiful upbringing. I remember Maskula, I remember a few things. I remember my dad bought my mom a camera. We were very young that time, and then he told my mom to capture every moment with us, whether we are dating, whether it's a color, whether it's in. My parents loved us. We had a beautiful upbringing. My birthday, it was never a party. It would be a party. We had a and my parents were batandana. They were so nice. I don't know what led to the divorce, and then from the Baba distance to Baba closer off towards us, and then it was so bad. So I know while reading your story, Uti Ekaya go, then there was a time Uti Bekdaisujwal.
Okay. Then in 2006, after a long time, my grandmother trying to get my dad with her support, then my dad began a phone. Okay. Apparently, my dad, Baba Begasasha at that time, I don't know for Ogosingak. And then they decided to go my dad and my stepmom decided to buy land the Eastern Cape. Then she's always with my dad and my stepmom. Then we came back Lana. Then my sister Lana Sahlala Nabo. And then during that year, 2006, they decided to go to Bazoinza Itavin in Lynn. And then because it's 4-room and we forming an camera, it was just cool. So Tina Bislala passed, then my dad and my stepmom, they would be embedding. So apparently I don't know my stepmom would decide in Nalabo, but I felt like it was discussed. Yeah, Nalabo Putilaba. There were times where she started to attend Agatan Gutiba Hamelabo Putlama, but to push because it's not safe, because about Puzzle or it's Aguko safe because kept so now says him and says Shera Nabo Ingo Gutimangala La Pante. I need to go enough to sizolala now. Yes. Then that's when
then what happened there? What did that situation lead to?
At first I was also told that I need to cook enough food for them to eat. And then it went to me preparing enough for them. And then that's how it started. They would do whatever right. And then my stepmom was aware. I remember the first time it happened, I told my dad. I've always been a talkative person. I told my dad and how this thing is making me feel. And then my dad, I don't know if Begangananda or what, he did nothing about that situation. He never did anything. I remember after that, one of Obunyabo he was sick. Then he was so whenever I cook or do everything, we also taking carefully about make sure to put the medication he eats. We are yes.
So that made you grow up faster than, I'm gonna say, a normal young girl. How did that make you feel? You had to cook, you had to take care of these men, you had to. How did that make you feel? Was it like a out of body experience? Were you there emotionally, or were you just going through the emotions, a day-to-day thing that you had to do?
During those times, I never wanted to leave. In as much as I've always wanted to be successful, see myself on TV, owning companies. But from that very moment, I felt shattered. I never wanted to leave, because even with my mom, we told my mom some of the things. This is what is happening. My mom, as a mom, to say this cannot happen. Mom, why can't you guys come? Then I never wanted to leave that time. I think being bitter started then. Started then because I knew what was expected of me after Kupuzojwan. I knew what was expected from me from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I know what I'm gonna be free from Monday up until Thursday. But on Friday, I know. Like that time, my stepmom I feel like a prostitute because on Fridays I had skirt as a short. She would expect me to wear that skirt during a weekend, and then in as much as I should give me this is what I want you to do, but that this is what I was doing. She made me feel like I was a young prostitute, and then you feel abandoned at the same time because my dad knew what was happening, and but he never did anything about that. My mom knew some of the things, a lot of things that happened to us, because even though we connected with her like Egoli, knowing we la corner, and her knowing till we are back with my dad, we never had that strong bond where she would call and say, let's meet us, what do you need? We never had that.
Because I was about to ask you, you mentioned that it was a 4-room house, but it wasn't divided.
Yes.
Which means your parent, your father, your stepmother, they were there while these men were doing all of this, but yes, they never said anything.
They were there. Like there was a wardrobe, then okay. But apparently you would have, because even now, whenever they were doing something like how
but nothing was done. So emotionally that took a toll on you. How did you manage to, I'm gonna say, survive or live or go on during those days? What helped you to continue breathing?
I think also being a child, when some things happen, you just live through the day. There's never a point in okay, maybe I can run, maybe yes. But we had she loved me so much. In as much as but I think he understand and I think he everything. So normally then he should always pray for me. She taught me how to pray. She took me to church, and then but my dad was against that. I don't know why she was against us going to church, but we went to church, and then she would pray for me. She never asked me a lot of things. What do these men do? Because sometimes even in the middle of the night we would go there's a place that people say lunch bar. We would go there, but maybe and then she knew about those things, but she never asked me to go. I think we were feeling if she prays for me, then it's gonna be okay. Then
So was your sister and your brother living with you, and your father and your stepmother, or was it just you at that time?
It was me and my younger brother. My sister at that time began Umtwana, so she was with my mom. Okay. She was in between my mom and Eastern Cape. Yes.
So it seems as though adults in your life then brought a lot of pain in your life, and how did you manage to move on or forgive the actions that they did against you, or are you still going through the process of forgiving them? Okay.
I think throughout the years I was bitter towards my parents, very angry towards my parents, to say why did they abandon us, and then the fact that they were still in Joburg, even if we were separated, why didn't our mom take us? I mean, besides that, we deserve umama, and also my younger brother, because we struggled because my health issues, so we had to be there every moment making sure all right. My sister was parenting break. I didn't get to shower, but I would give myself a break and then I would come back later on. So my sister, she never got to be a child. Akona, she never got to be a child because she had to be there for us at any given moment, whether one of us is sick, whether one of us is alive. And I've always had a problem with blindness. I would be blind for a very long time. So Akona should be the one doing everything. No matter right, she's always been there. Akona, she doesn't know she doesn't know having friends. She was always in the house making sure that you're into right. And then so masikula, in as much as we are aware we are bitter, but there was no point because my parents died. So they died even before we had a chance to what happened, especially my mom. There's so much that happened, things that happened to us. There's a lot of things why didn't you choose us? Because I feel I don't know ukuthi bekaphila kanjani eGoli, I don't know ukuthi bekadla kanjani engazi ukuthi sikuphi senza kanjani ekhaya without her calling or checking on us. And then also my dad, the resentment, the anger began towards us in the house. You know, my dad would always say crazy things. Sometimes he would say, if I'm at his bam, I'd be the first person he would shoot. Because I would question him. I would ask him, why while he's there in the house. We also struggled with food. It was difficult. My dad and stepmom would buy whatever at that time. Whenever, even if we don't have enough, they just didn't care. We struggled. We lacked a lot. And then so growing up, I think not to decide and I'm just gonna be okay. But I think it just life happened. Then Sakula and Saskula man separate. And then I says Kulile man is a problem, your homelessness. Masina homelessness ganje omunyuhlalena nomunya uhlalena, it's not nice. And then man just apart from each other. And then I don't know what my sister Gonzala and my younger brother's Eastern Cape, and then is Ganjalo. But in us living, each time we talk about the upbringing we are broken. Because I always share things that my siblings things that happened to me. Whenever we share, my sister asked the things that happened, the things that she went through for us, the things that we didn't know about. And then from that very moment, I think I developed a lot of anger towards my parents. A lot of anger towards my parents. But also going to church. And then I also went to Bible school. A Bible school we were fundiswa forgiveness. How to forgive. And then from that very moment, I think I prayed to forgive them. Because in everything, in every bad thing that was happening in life, I would always point to it's because of them. Yes. And then I just decided that time they are my parents and I love them, and then I also prayed for them. I know maybe it's crazy because I can't pray for them because there's nothing for them, yes. But I'll always do that. And then yes, we had to forgive everyone and anyone. In as much as we still remember all the things all the things the uncles did and said to us, we still remember those things. They are still fresh every day, but we are okay with them now, and it's a tandana fruit.
So as you were talking, you mentioned you would go blind. Do you know what caused that? Because you said you would go blind and then you would see again. Did you go to doctors to find out what would cause that?
It has always been happening from Kulabam, and then in 2005 it took longer because I remember it happened in December, the 31st of December. I very late because I couldn't see. I didn't have also this black part in my eyes. Then my grandfather and my grandmama bangisa go doctor. Then doctor then he gave us just a medication for pain. So that thing has always been happening because even at this year they said in Dubai. Then I was blind before near Dubai. Man figure at Dubai, I think 3 days in Dubai, I was blind again. So it normally happens, but most it happens on the 31st of December. So for City, it's a new year. I'd always be blind.
And then just yes,
then they would go blind. For it depends for how long, then basically right. But now that I've grown, and then I don't normally go about doctor now I pray. No, I know the promises of God in the Bible. I know he was crucified that I may have life in abundance. So now I pray. Even I think 3 days back, left my issues, and then I prayed. Or maybe I don't know.
Sophie. So you mentioned your parents passed away.
Yes.
What happened? Who passed away first? How? And then how did that impact you? emotionally as well as a family.
Okay. And then the thing of sharing my bed space in Alabo Babalabayana, it got worse. It got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't do anything in the house. And then I went to stay with my mom. Not far from Lama. And then we stayed with my mom there. But even there, basically connecting, like how a mother and a daughter should connect. And then in June I went to Varashela, my family home. When I came back in July, then my mom was very sick. Then I'm asking my sister why mama alele atena, she's not okay. We are gula. Mati she fell in 7 from there were collapse. Then then ever since then she's not been okay. Then now we are looking after my mom. My mom is sick, she can't talk, she can't do anything. Akona again, she's a parent to Mama Kiman. She's doing most of the things. I'm still that child. I mean, yes, I do things, but I still have my time. I still want my time putting her being like any other kids, because that time I was young. I was doing grade 10 that time. And then my mom Wahambalana, it was on a Saturday, Eastern Cape on Sunday. And then in 17th September, then she died. And then in October, then on the 10th of November, then my dad died. Yes.
The following year?
No, same year.
Same year, they all passed away the same year.
Yes, the same year.
So you found yourself having to take care of your mother?
Yes, we did that.
When she was sick. How was that?
I think there was nothing wrong about it. No, we didn't see anything wrong. We just knew especially Akona, because Akona Akona should know okay manje kumele adle. And at that time we had nothing to eat. So the people what the church Usisnoma introduced me to, I told them with my mom we are gula and we have nothing in the house. There's nothing in the house. So they would come, then they would pray for mama, even though they phone, they would pray for my mom after it, then they say and then so they say okay, because she couldn't walk, she couldn't talk, she couldn't do anything. So would lift her EP13. Most of the time, this is when you smell which something has happened in EP13, because that time we knew nothing and to konama pampas or things like that. Yes. So we simbamba, simpagami, then simbege panty, clean whatever that needs to be cleaned alone. And my sister that time had to drop out of school because my sister school in Sisong anyone to look after my mom. And then ending. So that time there was nothing wrong. It was the only thing that was wrong. It was seeing and the fact that she couldn't talk. She was crying a lot of times. I think maybe she wanted to talk, but the only time where she was able to talk, it was on the last day when she called us. That was the last time she could yes.
When she had a message your turn. So listening to your story, obviously we can't capture everything, but we hear you went through a lot. So to someone who is a young girl, young boy out there going through similar challenges, what would you say to them?
I would tell them to look up to God, because I don't think we could be where we are now if it went for God. And then I remember growing up, I was a child with a specific issue, and then my issue was suicide.
Okay.
I've always been a suicidal child growing up. In as much as being understanding what is it is suicide, but I've always knew there were moments where I wanted to just die. Yes, I would do that. I would take papers, I would write how I feel so that everyone knows I would do things like that. And then but being with God, I remember after all of those moments, I'd always want to know everything about me. Who named me? Who gave me my name? I'd always want to ask my aunt, what kind of a child was I growing up? That time when my mom was separated, what kind of a child was I growing up? I think I've always wanted those answers before I could commit suicide. Not to maybe they were gonna stop me from doing what I wanted to do. So the only thing that I can tell young people who are going through maybe what I went through, it's to look up to God. I don't think ukuthi khona impilo ebephilekayo without God, because uNkulunkulu he's a provider. There were moments where we were homeless, where we had no place. I remember there was a time where we had nothing. We would knock emzini yabantu and ask to sleep for that day. The next day silala somewhere. If uNkulunkulu wengekho that time, a lot of things could have happened. Maybe we could have fallen pregnant sibancane, maybe ngabe sihambile sahlala namadoda. A lot of things could have happened. Me being suicidal, maybe I could have killed my ngabe emakhaya mase khona nemifula, I would have gone there. Futhi emakhaya khona nemithwalo nemigodi, I would have jumped ngangena lapha. But because uNkulunkulu he is God, if they can just dedicate their lives to God and just wait upon the Lord, it's gonna be okay.
So uNkulunkulu for you, he's the one that saved you.
He's the one. He's the one. uNkulunkulu bekasise uyazi ukuthi ubusuku bude sleeping in a place la ungazi umuntu khona. Ubusuku bude ukuthi ulala uvuke futhi ekseni. uNkulunkulu he made sure was protector. And throughout yonke lento ebenzakala, none of us fell sick. Akekho bekagula adingeka kwa doctor. We're just living the life besikade siphila, and then uNkulunkulu made sure ukuthi siba okay.
So you mentioned ukuthi your mother got sick. Now as we move to the work that you do now, taking care of elderly people, do you think that your mother's sickness was a vehicle that led you to the work that you do now? Tell us about the work that you do now.
Oh, my grannies. I think in my younger brother, because he was the one we started with.
Okay.
Yes, treating my younger brother, washing amanepi, understanding toilet, understanding igazi, and all of that started with my younger brother. So with my mom, there was nothing difficult to see. Hence, I can't be about mama. It was just said she couldn't yes. And then so me having to wash it's I can't shock about that, yes.
And how did you start? And tell us about the name of your NGO. How did you come up with it?
Okay.
So the name and where did you start and who did you start with? And then waqala kanjani?
Okay. I started in 2010. Bengivakashe Eastern Cape, and then I had to go to Boniswa in our village, then I went there ngayombona mangifika lapha she was not in a good condition. Ngase ngicela ukumgeza because bekahlala nogogo nomkhulu wakhe, ngicela ukumgezisa. I did that for 2 weeks. I don't know why, but I just loved going there. The fact of mangifika lapha there's something a painting, I just loved that. Simgeza, sometimes it's ukumgeza immediately sithi simgibeze empedeni. I think I just liked that. I did that for 2 weeks, then I came back at Goli, then Vegas right at that time. And then she was very sick in the Eastern Cape. One of my grandmothers but mentally she was not okay. I remember I was so excited in front of the ambulance is making sure ambulance at least. That's how it started. And then so what I would do, I would maybe go to a certain house and then ask them and if is it okay if I can come? Then that's how it started. Ibe professional and then I'll also go to the clinics because they are the ones and then again people knew there's this young lady at that time I didn't have a name. I didn't even know what this thing be professional. And then people had to refer to a lot of people. And then after that, I advise why can't I register in an organization so that I can also maybe get help for our Laba, maybe funding so that our right because they struggle with a lot of things. Then I say I register, then I register Women's Diary because I know what I'm Richard. Then I thought this is the right name. And then what to God, no, you are not wretched. I die that you may have life in abundance, not for you to be wretched. Then again, I decided how about I name this after me? Then someday when I die, people know Uguti in as much as I was abundant, in as much as I went through everything I go through Yona, but there is Sindiswa on a legacy out there. Then go by Sindiswa Mabindisa mobile hospice because at the moment I'm mobile. So imagine it's a door to door. Hamba la emzini abantu ngicheck ukuthi na lapha kwisayini njalo ngekisayini bese ngiyakokota ngizi-introduce Sindiswa Mabindisa ngicela ugeza ugogo. Yes.
So do you have a team that you work with or usebenza wedwa nje?
After ngase ngiba nama radio interviews. I remember after Metro FM, then a lot of people were calling ba interested bafuna ukuza bazojoina ukusebenza nami, and then also ladies bala elokishini ephumulungu abo phindile, they came bazosebenza nami nabo gogo, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't ukuthi babagezise, athathe pampers amchange, atreat ama bed sores, atreat ibungu, because I also have gogo abanjalo. I've been to a mortuary and prepare ama patient, so they couldn't do it. They would just come nje bahambe nami, just sit there, but they couldn't do the actual thing that I was doing. So man, yes, I do have a team, but it's a board member team. But ukusebenza, I'm the one obagezayo. I struggle, yes. Yibonga because manje ngigeza gogo nabo mkhulu.
So on a daily basis, wenzani nje uyavuka uye uyobabheka, or is it bakufonele or nje every day uyababona bonke?
Okay, I wake up, bese ngiyahamba ngiyogogo, then ngiyabagezisa. Then abathandi ke ugeza. There are those abangafuni ugeza at all. So what I would just change them in nappy. So I also have those abanganama nappy at all. So since indwangu lezi zama napkin, I would change those, bese ngiyawasha ngisoke ngisokhayo, then bese ngiyahamba. Then manje ngoba senginabo nabomkhulu ke, manje futhi sengi physiotherapist because mangifika lapha ngiyabalula nokubalula.
Okay.
Siyajima nokujima.
So ogogo nje ukuthi ogogo nomkhulu imndeni yabo iphi? Bakhona imndeni abazukulu, izingane zabo, bakhona o abekho sebeshadile mhlambe bahlala kwezinye indawo? Fortunately, most of our patients amagogo, they have abantwana babo. They have their abantwana babo, they have grandkids. But nje khona indaba naye. I think also abanye ngisho abanye baba ne dementia, babe ne Alzheimer's, so they behave in a certain way. Uthole sebaba ngasabathandi, uthole sebamkhile endlini bangasafuna ukudila nogogo. But most of the time it's because abafuna ukugeza ugogo. Abafuna ukudila nepampers, abafuna ukumpeza, because even ukudla bayabancinci ukudla most of the time, because they know ukuthi the more elder, the more asuta, it's the more azo toilet. So uhlele lapha endlini ekhiyele lapho endlini, mina mangifika ngizomgeza, I know ukuthi ugogo ngasendlini, sometimes uthole phuma impethu bengathi uthelwe ngerice la, impethu lezi from the nappy, because I don't attend them every single day. Angisho babaningi angikwazi ukuthi ngibageze or every day ngesikhathi esiyi-1 years. Uthola ukuthi ukhiyelwe lokho ngiyazi ukuthi as abantu abamnyama mhlambe ngizogeneralize asikholelwa kuma elderly homes.
Yes.
So do you find that ukuthi situation injalo ukuthi ayawukholwa ukuthi vele uzohlala la uzoshonele la ekhaya, asikholelwa ukuthi ugogo sinithathe noma umkhulu ayohlala nabanye abantu abadala kuma homes?
The ones that I have, man, I don't think it's a matter you believe it. It's a matter what they wanna hold on with card. But of course, angisho a home pillar, angisho they must pay a certain amount. They also need to buy ama toiletries thing ezidingeka la. So of course gogo makaya lapha ngeke basaba ne excess imali kagogo. So they know ukuthi mabamkhiphile ugogo endlini, they know ukuthi mina khona because I'm doing this thing for free. Gogo, I don't mind if they don't have ama toiletries. Endlini I normally have ama toiletries ama plastic I know ukuthi lena ngigeza ubani ngayo, lena ngigeza ubani ngayo. So I don't worry mabangana ama toiletries ogeza. I don't worry ukuthi ugogo ulona akanama napkin. If ama pampers aweke then SW indwangu normal senza ama napkin, so I know ukuthi ngiwasha nini ngisokhama kwenzakaleni. So they know ukuthi if noba ngikhona angiholi ngisebenza mahala, so they have nothing to lose. So they'd rather bamkhiphe endlini bahlale naye endlini mazi ukuthi I'm gonna come than ukuthi bamhambise ku shelter then bayobhadala imali
bese bethola le mali
bese bathole le mali. Yes, aqeda ngadli nokudla gogo enough.
Okay. This lo msebenzi owenzayo is very, it could drain you emotionally.
It does.
Yeah. How do you take care of yourself to make sure ukuthi nakusasa usanamandla okusukuma uyosiza omunye ugogo, usiza omunye umkhulu?
I think in as much as drainer, yes, every single day, because abanye gogo bayarapiwe, umthole lapha erapiwe, it's a lot. I'll be in and out ema police station, kulokuthi ayidocket, babophethe idocket uselifini, angeke abuye into, it's a lot. Omunye akaphathanga kahle izolo ebusuku, something happened ebusuku, resho abafana akadlanga. And then so I think it taking care of me, it's something ebenkade ngayibona kuyinkinga, because mangivukile kusengihamba ngami, it doesn't matter if it's a Saturday or what, even on Sunday after church I know I have those gogo ngihamba nyobagezi, abanye angibagezi, abanye bane stroke, I'll just go there kumrapa nje kuphela though ngakwazi ukuthi ngimgeze then for ukuthi ngimrape nje kuphela. So I think it taking care of me, I don't think into ebalekile because mangigezile ngadla, even if angidlanga then I just go nyogeza ugogo. I think iyo nje into ebalekile ukuthi nje ngiyenze.
Khona abantu abava bayo gogo?
Yes, they do. Aloka gqoka ipampers, they do that. They do. I have one SOA2 une stroke. I think ukulala so because she can't move. So lana la kwi elbow yakhe uphuma impethu. She's mangabona ithombe zakhe, she's the first time ngiyombona I was scared myself. I was praying in tongues. I didn't know ukuthi umuntu and umuntu onjani kwenza, even indlu le akalele kuyo. Masifika lapha ugogo, she was something else la. Athi this guy apparently amntana bakhe endlini yakhe baqashisile la emakamereni abantu, and lapho so labafana baqashela yibo laba ba rape ugogo. They do that. Even kids, because I also have kids with special needs. I do have those aba rich. I'm sure people they know ukuthi because uIsdala ngiyakwazi ukuthi akhuluma ukuthi who did what. So they do that. Abagogo they do that. Bayabashaya, they do things kube zingekho right. Omunye wayeze shisa umama wakhe ngamanzi because she wanted imali yokuthwasa. They do horrible things to abazali babo.
And then uthola ukuthi uyabasiza bayovula ama case.
Yes,
ama case ahamba kanjani lapho ayakusiza amaphoyisa ayanisiza or
it's not
manje kube I dead end nje.
Vele kube ne case nje ukuthi umuntu ophethe docket akekho uselifini uzobuya nini ngifike ukuthi asizange asifonanga then uzoza masifonile. So I just stop. I no longer attend to those. I just stopped. I help abagogo. I have those bebangana nama ID. I had to start afresh ngibayenze nama ID. That they don't care ngabo. I remember ukhona lonke ngimgezise emochwari. Mama lo nomntana wakhe wamshiya nabantwana abancane ngiyafike bekana 2 years, omunye angaka umfana wayohlala boyfriend yakhe Cape Town eDurban, washiya umama wakhe nabantwana bakhe. I used to take those kids. Sometimes I would sleep with them. Sometimes I would take the kids ngiyobashiya kwasiswami. If maybe sihambisa umama lo uNensi esibhedlela because uNensi wakala wavela iphimpulo encane la enyaweni then wabola. Then bekasaphuma impethu lana then inyawo lakhatheka. I remember ubaba wakhe wazala ephepho la wacela amaplanga then samenzela into le because ngisho inyawo lelo kunyathela beliphumile. So samenzela something lapha ngamaplanga ukuthi sifake inyawo leli bese sihlanganisa nomcondo lo wakhe kanjalo. So everywhere la ngiyakhona masihamba noNensi either esibhedlela or eclinic because mostly abagogo bami every Wednesday baya eclinic for iphysio. I'd always check those kids then bayosala kwasiswami then I would work nabo.
So kulo msebenzi omngako owenzayo uluphu usizo olutholayo and from who? So in terms of ama departments asithi social work whatever uluphu usizo olutholayo?
I'm not getting any help. Instead I'm getting calls to say sisi kunogogo endaweni so. Sisi there's an abandoned gogo olala egarage kunogogo esimbone endleleni endaweni eso. Pela. I'll just get those calls from my social worker. Can you come in the office? Then they drive me to that place. I have those then I would take them out take them then I would meet with them social worker tell them and then we're gonna look for a family then then I wouldn't get any calls family then they would call and say then what do we do because we don't know which family. But I'm not angazing at all any help from the social workers because even with the people that talks to me to people because I've had a lot of radio interviews. I've shot a documentary with SABC2. I've been to SABC1. It's people from the location abaz umsebenzi wami. Yes, but from abo even with those TVs and also those radio interviews they've promised a lot. Ukuthi sizokusiza, we're gonna buy abagogo izingubo, we're gonna do this and that, but nothing. I couldn't get into years. The only person who promised from the interview is the lady was a ulethiwe was a Pretoria. She bought blankets for abagogo and then was later then wabanikeza. A lot of people they just promise things and then as figi. Yes, but from social workers I don't get anything. Even no more talks maybe kune issue yakho, maybe indaba yenu talks maybe kulola izinto kune issue, they would just call me. Makumele gogo yenze le ID elonene, they would do that. I remember kuno bhuti benkade ngimthanda uhlala le homeless lapha estradini. Beka beminyawo, I used to do ilaundry yakhe ngimwashela, I'll take him esalon ukuthi bamgune inwele esawuna beclean. So I wanted to ukuthi bengifuna ukuhamba rehab because beka beminyawo. I struggled ukuthi athole ID because I'm a social worker, they were not talking to straight ukuthi I need to find the female yakhe qala ukuthi bamenzele ID. So I just went to police station ngabatshela because normally ama position ayithembisa abayangazi, they know me. I just went there ngenze affidavit ukuthi ngifuna ngimenzele ID ukuthi at least nibazoya rehab. Then I did that and it was so easy then i-ID wayithola. Baningi ngibayenzela ama-ID ngiwabhalisa ne-grant futhi kwasasa bese bayahola. Yes.
So to people watching out there, different departments like in South Africa, what kind of help do you need specifically in order to qhubeka nalo msebenzi omuhle owenzayo?
I think the priority manje it's a facility. It's a place la bazohlala khona because door to door it's difficult. Even manje nami seyangihlula. There were times where I would ngisebenze from early up until late. But manje it's difficult because abogogo they stay far apart and nokubageza bakhona ku dependa ngecondition yakhe ukuthi une condition enjani at that time. Omunye akana ama pampers mele ngiwashe ama napkin and of course makwenzeka whatever enzakala iphumela nasengubeni, so I need to do that. On Wednesday ngihamba ngeclinic, I only take ugogo oyi1 before ngiba nama wheelchair bengibateta la abonintsi emqolo go to the clinic. Sifike lapha silinde usisi we physio nini kufone ukuthi akafikanga abone especially ukuthi akafikanga uzoza next week. It was just a wasted day lapha the whole day akafiki. I'm not getting any help. Even futhi ema clinic khona it's worse. My clinic it's worse. The nurses, I don't know if maybe they think maybe I'm competing with them but the treatment that I get there it's very bad. I'm a mobile clinic. I normally ask them to come and assist because a lot of them banomzimba. It's difficult for me ukuthi ngimgeze isigibela naphezu kombhede masigeza. I remember that this other guy was wathi kimi wathi mangcheka ama hospice lawa our patient wathi they normally have ama chains la ababophela embhedeni for them ukuthi akwazi ukugeza. It's difficult ukuthi gogo ngimgeze because kuya ngumzimba wakhe. Abanye bane dementia, abanye Alzheimer's, they do things izinto ezingekho right, izinto abazenza they are not all right. So mangaba khona ifacility ngazi ukuthi bahlala lapho every single day, I take care of them the way ngifuna ngakhona, it would be okay because I'm not doing this thing for money. I've never got paid for the thing yenzayo. Ngifuna ukuthi ngihlale nabo. Okay, noma ngahlala nabo lapho hospice every day, it's fine. Ngazi ukuthi bayageza ngendlela right, they eat, they do yonke into babe safe because abanye they walk nasebusuku. Many times omunye la bekane Alzheimer's la imangweni bebafuna ukumshisa ukuthi uyathakathi because of the things gogo bekazenza. Na she didn't understand ukuthi wenzani, bekangazi ukuthi wenzani. So mangaba nje nendawo ifacility la bahlale khona la phakathi ngazi ukuthi this is their place. Mina nabo si attendana lapha and every single day. Manje it's worse because manje senginabo omkhulu aba more than abogogo. Abomkhulu because akekho umuntu ofuna ukubagezisa. And as much as it's difficult for them ukuthi azi ukuthi uzokhumulisha yimi agezwe yimi and then but because I into sizoyenza then I'll do that. So having a facility, they're gonna be male people, male ama caregiver or male abazobanakela bomkhulu ngendlela right, cut their hair, do the because manje I'm learning ngisho futhi ngicela ne donation yomshini wokugunda bakwazi bagunde nenwele bagunde ninja. It's difficult. Abantu abadala the more they grow baba namazipho engazi ukuthi abuya baba namanye amazipho angagundeki ongeke uzu understand bane problem yesisu. It's a lot. Mangaba nje ifacility indawo ifacility PPE it's a problem. I struggle with PPE ama gloves abanyiphi bangithe I'm not working for government, so now I've learned manje ngiyabageza noma ama gloves now, even if I don't have ama gloves then I wash them. But the priority nje it's a place indawo because abantu mangihlala kwi1 room I can't accommodate any of them. I can't. And it's difficult when it's raining. I need something because I walk. I don't have money to give it takes. When it's raining, I need makbanda. I don't go near bageza. Makune weather nayo
plays a role.
I'm in weight. And then my guy that if ngeze omunye ephumulong, makumele ngiyihlama or ngiye elona eGatlampini. Amalokishi afa apart. you are far apart. Angisakhona ukuthi ngiwokhe ngiyelena, and also staying with my child. Sometimes ngiba absent emntaneni wami. Very, because ngithi ngilana ngithi thothi ngimshiya ayi1 ngije ukuthi nongizokha ngisheshe ngibuye fast then bese ngingasabuyi. There was a time where my child was nearly taken ngama social worker. Oh God. I'm neglecting my child. Yes. Okay, even if I did that, I know gay, but you couldn't know I'm neglecting her because I was doing other things in society. So having a facility go right. Some greens they don't eat unless in figile. No, they don't. I'm sure they know which once you water uzo toilet, then it's gonna be a smell in the house. Yes. So this year ngibashile ngahamba ngise Dubai ngithola umsebenzi eDubai.
Okay.
I wanted to work then ngibe nemali come back ngithenge indawo eyami because I've been having a lot of promises ngifakula ama group, ama TV interviews, ngithola ama email, ama phone call, they just promising but it's not working. So I left them early this year eDubai ngithi ukuthi ngizothola idirham lapha, have a lot of money ngithenge indawo. Okay, but I had to come back again. Then umsebenzi waphela then ngabuya.
Because did the blindness
yes, but also then now being sebenza kuyo, I think the people bengibubo they were just not ready for, I think for me and also for them. Yes. So
okay. So into ebalekile kakhulu indawo to house
la ngazi khona ukuthi ba in one place every day. Yes.
Ukwazi uba attend daily.
Yes.
Kube ne staff as well.
Kube ne staff, yes, kube ani staff or qualified nurses because I'm a condition abogogo yo. I have those who don't keep impahla, the skin just peels off. Ngathi umuntu ofake emanzini abi like they have ama condition abo angwazi because I don't have a qualification yalo msebenzi engiwenzayo. I just know phela ukuthi ngiyamgeza and then mine ama bed sores I know ukuthi ngimfaka baby powder qeda ukugeza ugogo then ngizomlalisa ngisiso ngimthele ngebaby powder maybe ngimeke for an hour ngiyogeza abanye. Then I know by the time I come back akasableed baby powder na lesayibambe ukubleed lokuyana. I know nothing ama conditions wabo. I know nothing about things ezenzakala emzimbeni yabo. And sometimes the bahambise clinic I'll be referred esibhedlela. So kusesibhedlela ngizobuya ngabo 11 ebusuku. That time my child angazana ukuthi uhlelise eroomini uhleli nobani. I'm just stuck esibhedlela. Mangibuye esibhedlela I have no money yet ukuthi ngibuye ngize endlini. It's a lot.
So in the meantime sisazocela I-facility as you do it door to door. What are your needs? You dinga ama pampers, what are the needs that you use, the things that you use on a daily basis? More visitor.
Mangi visitor, I need ama pampers. Yes, first thing ama pampers. Because all of them, ama patients ama pampers. Ngifuna laba abagqoka ipampers, ngibafuna gqoka abanga toilet. I have those abanye mangivakashi mangiyile endlini ngiyomgeza, mangifika lapha nga toilet angifuni ukumgeza. Ngifuna adle a toilet. Bese ngizomchinja ipampers a toilet. Yes, so my patients ami laba abagqoka ama pampers. I need ama pampers, I need PPE. Ama gloves are important because a lot of them ukhona lokho kuma ngimgezile ngiba ni rush la. Manje ngamgeza nganawo ama gloves ngiba ni rush lana. So ama pampers, ama toiletries. Your PPE is important. PPE yes. Abanye uzothi ngithi ngiyamgeza la ikhanda inwele zivele ziphume ziwe. I don't know ukuthi usubaphethwe yini. So yes, I need nje ama toiletries into zi right. So bageza maybe nama pheme abi right yes. But transportation because you're good difficult ukuthi khona ngihlala eMthewu abala mthingi kukude la ngizothi ngishona le and it's winter manje ilanga sheshe shona ngithi ngibuya komunye ba phone khani awukuhlaphisa gogo today gogo ukakile khani awuclean angengikwazi ukuthi ngiwalke ngiyela because immediately ngishona phela sengikhathi yes I have those bang text bangisendela ama WhatsApp kanti awuzi na uzogeza gogo today na. So no, but they don't. No man figure something about us, but we don't have electricity. So man nemali yes I would buy electricity. So manje sengisebenza ngeschedule. Sengisebenza ngeschedule. I know ukuthi on Monday ngeza uba nobani, Tuesday ngeza uba nobani. But manje because of you winter abaningi abathandi. So I just allow their families ukuthi ba phone basho ukuthi na can I come gogo bambuza ukuthi na can I come na or not because yo abogogo ugeza yo
abathandi.
Ngitshela ukuthi mangigezile mina ebusuku angilali ngihlala ubusuku bonke mina ngalalanga ba complain.
Yazi mesikhula thina sikhule abantu abadala bephathwa njengegolide. Yes. Sifunda kubona besixoxela inganekwane. Uyabona nje ukuthi ugogo nomkhulu abantu ababalekile. Basixoxela ihistory yethu ukuthi hawu isibongo senu kanje. yini oyibonayo yenza ukuthi imndeni ingabi sabanakekela ngalendlela abantu abadala?
I think abogogo bala eGoli abafana abogogo basekhaya.
Okay.
Back home and I still have abogogo abanye banabo ma 70 something years. They still do things for them. So abogogo bala neGoli, I mean I don't know, maybe kuseGoli they are ba week abogogo bala eGoli. I have abo thing bageza abanabo ma 48 years akusugogo lo muntu loyo. Bayagula, they can't do anything for themselves. Yes. And also in life yala neGoli ayifani sangisho manje kunamafoni kunama WhatsApp kunama YouTube. Young people they just don't have time for abogogo. Mina we do have those days. We do have ama story days. Laba xoxela khona how they grew up, how they got married, things like that. Where we just talk about things. Manje abantu abasha they are very busy in as much as sometimes ba busy yes because of my careers wabo yes abanye abawuhlala kude noma akahlali nogogo akasebenzi but abafuna ukuthi bafune umuntu ozoba permanent abekekeep amnakekele yes but nje yazi thina masikhula le emakhaya both abogogo bama besuthu so masibesazi ukuthi masifikile ebusuku kuba nesikhathi bathi recruits athumo mase sengubeni kumnandi uyazothi gogo uzosenzela intsomi asenzela inganekwane then sisazi ukuthi kumnandi yes kuyaxoxwa abogogo basifundisa izinto ze-culture abashana abamantombazana yes but lana eGoli lana it's difficult. Lana eGoli I've never met a family enogogo la ngibona khona ukuthi lona bayamthanda lo bayamnakekela. I've never, it's only ubhuti oyi1 kuphela uLebohang he has the best family. Umama yakhe nobabakhe he's the only person enginaye kuma patient wami onomndeni omnakekelayo. Lapha yana even if angiyanga ukuyomgeza la bhuti today I know ukuthi right sometimes ngithi ngifika bathi nomekela then thina sizomgeza ubuye kuphela the rest laba and nami bangitreata ngendlela very wrong. I don't know what for because it's not like into engiyitholayo from them. Yes, how they treating me is also not okay, but again it's my passion. Angeke baze ba understand. Yes, angeke ba understand.
So i-message ongasinikeza yona ke ezimndeni in terms of taking care or looking after our elderly people, what can you say to us as families nje?
I think people must just love abantu abadala. It doesn't matter what happened because I know a lot of them they are still angry at things that happened. Abo mama baba benzile zona. You know says kuma black families, I don't know if it's in black communities only or what. Kuna this thing abazali baba ne favoritism towards abantwana babo. Athande lona because of that. Mina my mom loved my sister so much because akhona ufana naye, because uzibone akhona ukuthi umama, because my sister calm. My mom bekahleza khala ngalo even noma thenga impahlo akhona ezakhe bizima more than ezithi makapha akhona imali ezakhona imali ba more than eyethu. You understand? So I know abanye they are angry for things ezenzakalile. Some yes we abandoned they azange bakhule with abo mama babo. They are still angry at those things. But it happened. It cannot be changed. Yes. Yes, mina I don't care ukuthi na ukwenzakalani, but they must just look after abogogo babanakekele. Abogogo they are angels. I love them because they knowledge. I love them because they pray. I love them because they know God. In as much as I have laba uNkulunkulu abangamazi because I discipled a lot of abogogo bam. I taught them about Christ, ngabamkelisa uJesu. We're reading the Bible, they're learning how to pray because abanye bebayizangoma benga believe into Christ, but then ithema sesihlangana so YouTube because I contract yabo nabo le. Mina ngusindiswa and ngisindisile. They need to know ukuthi I relationship yami nabo iba noNkulunkulu phakathi. For us ukuthi sikwazi ukuthi sigezane, she needs to know about Christ and ufuna ukuthi amamukele ngomlomo wakhe avume ukuthi uyinkosi nomsindisi. Abogogo they understand, they pray for me. They pray for me, abogogo, they pray for my child. I think from what I'm doing. They must just banakela abogogo. It doesn't matter what happened. And if bahluleka ukubanakela abogogo in terms of maybe kubageza maybe ngoba mhlambe bayanyanya, mina ngicela bangibize ngikhona. Bangaze babahlukumeze, bangaze babashaye, bangaze babathuke bathini. Ngicela bangifonele ngikhona, I'm gonna come uzobanakela abogogo. But when they are missing out. They are missing out. This gogo bayangithanda laba yo ngicela bangibize.
Bane wisdom esinginayo thina esinginayo ifanele thiwa indlela ibuzwa kwabaphambili.
Yes.
So siyabadinga ogogo, siyabadinga omkhulu ukuthi basifundise.
Yes.
ukuthi khanjwa kanjani la
lokuhlala nabo nje kumnandi sihlale nje phansi kwesixoxo nje kuhleke nje kube mnandi
nezitori zabo bakutshela ukuthi bona bakhula kanjani into ongasoze wena
omunye
wa experience
omunye wathwalwa yena ayintombi amncane wafika emzini amncane anganamabele amncane how she learned through that umkhulu wagcina semthanda kanjani wahlala nomkhulu even though bekade engamthandi and laba khona today she doesn't wish ukuthi impilo ingabuyele emuva ayothathwa umunye umuntu ongamazi. Those stories are just nice. Those are the best things because I know ukuthi mangihlele nabo we talk about things ngayo yonke into
uyaphila.
Yes,
ube nolwazi.
Yes.
So manje sikutholaphi ushilo ukuthi mesinogogo esidinga ukuthi usisize ngayo umkhulu esidinga ukuthi usisize ngayo. How do we get hold of you? Are you unama social media, inumber esikuthola kuyona, email?
Yes. At the moment, because if unamiyagula, I don't have a specific social media page la ngiposta khona umsebenzi wami. But umuntu makangena ku Google type igama lami Sindiswa Mabindisa then iveze umsebenzi wami, then you get to see lapha yana ukuthi okay, this is what I do. And then like email address yami sindiswamabindisa11@gmail.com and also my cell phone number again. Yes. Ngicela nje bangashaya bogogo, they might just call me. I'm gonna come.
Hayi siyabonga umsebenzi omuhle kangaka engakaze ngikucabanga. Yebo ba? Hayi number. Sicela usiphi number yakho?
Okay, my number is 064 it's 186 1274 064 186 1274. My other number is 073 183 7830.
Singakuthola kuyona. Khona mina imibuzo eninayo ngikhohliwe. Okay, hayi siyabonga kakhulu.